Since it is on the pawn, we need to go to the third person character and get loot inventory placement. And from here we have a reference, do we not? We do not. That is weird, I thought we created... Let's go to our graph here. We have player controller, we create a HUD, we add it to viewport. We never set this one. So we need to set a promote this to a variable. We're here, like so. And we'll call this our HUD widget ref. And now that we go to our loot inventory placement here, we can get our HUD widget. We can say that from here we want to be able to get our inventory. So that's what I called it, inventory overlay. Let's go back here and check. We called it loot inventory. So back here again. Loot inventory. We want to get this HUD element here, and we'll send it back here. So this means that we now have this functionality available, at least for this. But we now need to get the placement for the other inventory. So we'll go to our interface again, and we will call it get inventory placement. Actually, we're not wanting the placement here. Here we're just wanting the inventory, I think. Get inventory like so. And we'll have that return a output of the type widget's inventory container that we created. And we'll call this the inventory container. That's not how we spell container. Like so. Okay. So going back again to our third person character, we should now have get current did we not put it right? Get inventory. I put this in the wrong. No, it's correct. It's in the inventory one. But we called it get inventory. And that's a fair name, I think. So why am I missing it? Third person character, get inventory. I'm just blind. My bad. So this one needs to return the reference to the container. So we'll get our HUD widget again, and we'll get our inventory container, and we'll return that here, like so. And now we should be able to go back to our component again. And from here, we will now use the interface that we've created. So let's take our player. Actually, we're gonna be needing the pawn as well here. Let's make some reroute nodes. Like so. And from here, we're gonna get inventory message. So, like so. And after that, we, in this case, also set the inventory reference. So depending on which interface we're using, we're setting them both here, but just slightly different. For a chest, we create the container here for the first time. And when it comes to our HUD, we actually already have created it. We're just getting the reference to it. Yeah. Now maybe we should be able to start doing some testing and see what's happening. So let's press play and see what happens. So the first thing that we can see immediately is that our inventory is already showing up in the top right. which we don't want, so we want to hide that. So we go to our inventory container, and we go over here and we change the visibility from not hit testable to hidden to begin with. So we start again. Oh, that's not the one we wanted apparently. Let's see here. Let's see here. We should be... Is this the one? Let's do it for the size. Actually, we want to do it for... No. We need to go to our HUD and we need to find it over here. So our inventory over here, container, this one should be hidden, I think. Yeah, like so. That should probably be correct. So we start, as you can see in the top left it says HUD, which means our HUD is showing but our inventory is not. We're pressing I, nothing's happening. Let's check what that is caused by. So our event graph, and we have our show. Okay, so we didn't actually connect this yet, so let's do that. So this is the functionality that we created by showing our inventory. So we'll just type in show inventory, like so. Then we need to add our interacting player, which is going to be our player controller ref that we saved earlier. Like so. Let's see how that works. So we're pressing the I key, nothing is happening. We're getting some errors. Access none trying to switch on isolate. Okay, so we're getting into this part over here and we're saying that we want to set our visibility to something, but we don't have a reference to our inventory ref. So I'm going to assume that that is because I forgot to put it over here. Yes. So we created this init widget function. And that's the one that we need to call after we've added this to it, to the viewport. And the interacting player will again be our player controller ref. So this should be calling our blueprint controller for our player, and it should be finding that it's an internal one. It should be getting the inventory and setting the inventory ref. So hopefully that will work now. Dismiss this, we'll save everything and we'll try again. So now I press I, and you can see that we get an inventory that shows up, although our controls are a little bit messed up. We also don't see any widgets inside of this one, so let's debug and see what that's all about. So we got our third person character. We say, let's see, the init widget is this one, and we get the inventory. Okay, so we have our HUD and an inventory controller, inventory widget. This is the one that should be creating our widgets. So let's just see what they look like to begin with. Like so. So here we are in the construction of the inventory, and we'll just step forward and then we'll see we have a number of rows that are 0. That's not good. That's gonna end the widget altogether. So let's see here. We are creating the inventory from here, and we have, when we spawned the inventory, we said that we exposed the number of rows and columns to this automatically. But since we have already dragged this into our widget HUD here already, we don't actually get to put any information. It's created by default because of us having dragged it in here. Which means that if we go to our inventory container here and find our number of rows, we can set the default value to 3, for example, and the number of columns to 4, which will allow us to, in the circumstance that we have right now, that will pick it up. Let's it will create it by those default values. Let's remove this breakpoint for now and see if that fixes everything or if we need to go back. Okay, so now you see we can actually see an inventory. It doesn't look very pretty, but at least we have something here. So now we can continue and build upon this a little bit. And we're getting some errors, so let's fix that. Accept attempted access index of starting inventory of length 0. So this is going to be the this part over here where it says I wonder if it is, did I choose to get a reference here? Does it matter if I have a copy? We need to, what's happening here is we are trying to set an item over here depending on the starting inventory, but we have set up our player to not have a starting inventory to begin with. So that is why that is happening, and it's still happening. So we'll have to fix that a little bit. Where did we go? Inventory container, there. I do believe this one should be fine if we just get it by copy instead of reference. Let's just check that quickly. Like so. Generally you want to be careful when it comes to reading from arrays when it comes to indexes that might not be set. That is exactly what is happening here. But I do believe that we shouldn't be getting this issue. Okay, so when we're trying to get a reference, apparently it's much more harsh when it comes to that. That's actually even news to me. So that's nice. So yeah, by trying to get a copy from this array instead by an index, if it fails at doing that, it will probably just have our dummy values that we have here, which is basically nothing, and setting that as our information here, which is perfectly fine because that works for us. And yeah, so that's that part. Now let's see if we can actually start picking up some things. Let's put a health potion out in the world, and that's what that looks like. And let's take a mana potion and put it like that. And now we defined these as, let's see here, a cube and a sphere. Meaning that if our code is functioning like it is intending to work, and we didn't do a mistake, well, you're not to blame since I made the code, but you just followed. But that means that the left one here, which is our health potion, it should be turned into a cube instead, because the very first thing we do on the construct is to check in the database to see what kind of values does this have. So even though we can see here the information of what, actually this doesn't work well. Let's change this immediately. Let's see, we open up the health potion and we open up the mana potion. What we actually do need to do with these is we need to make sure that they have their, we show inherited values. We change this name to be health potion for the health potion, and for the mana potion we need to go and find this item info and change it to a mana potion. Because remember, what we do in our parent class, the item pickup, is on the constructor or the begin play, is that we check to see what amount this is, of course, and after that we say that we want to update the item info, and updating the item info here gets the name of this item info, and then just translates it over and then tries to read from the database table, and then it fills all of that information from the database table, which means that it should be changing, among other things, the meshes. So if we press play now, this should become a cube, this should become a sphere. If they are set, yeah, that one says health potion now, this one says mana potion, so let's play. So that didn't work at all. So let's, okay, that makes sense, of course. Even though we change we changed all the item info, but we didn't actually change it to be reflected in the world. So let's go to our item pickup here, and among here we update the item info. But the visual representation of the actual mesh, this one, is not actually set. So we'll just do that as our last step after we have already set everything else. There we go. So after the items have been set, the information for them, we should also be updating the static mesh with whatever it should be representing. And it's still not working. Okay, let's debug this then. So we have this over here, we can just, let's put a breakpoint here. So, and we play and we get the update info, and we say that our item info is this. So this might not be super easy to read, but you can see, among other things, it has name is blank for this. That is weird. Let's check this from the begin play. So we start, and this item pickup over here, it says it's a health potion. It says it is dummy and everything like that. It's not important. We check the amount. We set the amount for the item info to be something else here, but it's still okay. Here's the problem. We're not actually sending in the new info over here. So like so. Let's try this again. We can remove this one now, I think, and we'll press resume. Actually, just resume and see if it turns into the meshes we expect in the world. So now you can see that this one turns into, and this would of course be a health potion mesh of some sort if you wanted to have it in the world, and this would be a mana potion, and it's just as easy to replace them in the data table and everything will work. So let's see if we can actually pick this up. So I'm standing next to it and I'm pressing E, and it disappears. So that's a good start. We check our inventory and we see nothing special happening here at all. So what happened then? Let's see what we got as a... It says added, that's positive at least. And let's go to our third person character and our interact. Add breakpoint. And let's see what happens. So we go over here, we loop for all of the actors that were overlapping. It says there's none, but there should be, there's one, a health potion 2. And we say we want to interact with health potion 2 and we're this player. Let's find health potion. There we have it. And I think we probably don't have any code in here, we just have it over here. Let's remove our inherited stuff. Let's go to our interact with. There we go. We'll set a breakpoint over there. We'll go back to our... Where did we end up? Was it in third person? Yeah, so we'll press resume here. We'll end up in our item pickup, which is our health potion in this case. Interacting player is set to us. Controlled pawn is finding a third person character. It's checking, do we implement the interface? We do. We try to add it to our inventory. So this is on our pawn again. So let's go to our pawn and find our add to inventory. Focus on that one. We'll set a breakpoint over here. Let's go back to our item pickup where we were. Just from here, that's the last part before we destroy. That's fine. So we resume. So now we're in the add item to inventory on the third person character. And we try to add this item, which is a their health potion, you can see. hopefully you can see. I can't actually show it because you see it moving. It's moving when I move my mouse. But it's a health potion and we should be adding it to our inventory. That sounds good. So let's step in here. Let's check to see what happens here. We try to add it to existing slots. That should be possible because we don't have any existing mana potions right now. So we'll just skip past this and see what happens. We can see that this one still has, let's check the amount. There, max amount, current amount is 1, and this one is going to be saying that we have more than 1 remaining, which makes sense. So we'll go up here and try to add it to an empty slot instead. And this is what we expect it to be doing. So we'll go in here, we'll check local remaining variable. We loop on each one. We try to... What's this? We're checking if it's an empty, if we have found an empty slot. We'll actually be checking if it's something else than empty, and if it is empty we're going to the false, so this should be going into the false in my opinion, yes. So we'll end up here, we say that this is our widget that we want to add it to. So we added a widget which is the slot C0, which means basically the index 0. And then we try to add this item to this widget, so we'll go in there. And here we don't have any code yet. Okay, well this is going to be an issue, so let's fix this up then. So this is adding an item to a specific slot. Since this function is used from 2 different places, we need to do something a little bit redundant here, but we need to make sure that first of all that the item we're trying to add, we need to check its item info, and we need to compare its class. Like so. That is all for this episode. Hope to see you in the next one. Keep on learning. Take care.